Guys, are you a fan of Comme des Garçons fragrances? Did you know that they're celebrating 30 years of fragrances? There's an amazing book that just launched featuring a lot of their fragrances in a most gorgeous layout. And they're celebrating 30 years of fragrances in this book. And in this video, I'm doing a ranked list of my 13 top favorite Comme des Garçons fragrances. If you want to find out about the brand and their fragrances and a little bit about this book, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian, talking to you about Comme des Garçons fragrances today. So I first discovered the brand in the late 90s. I bought a very small bottle of Odor 53, which is this. I've got it here in this video. And the only reason I bought it, because at that time I thought this fragrance is quite weird, but I like its weirdness and I want to wear something that's a bit weird and non-conventional from all the stuff that I was wearing at the time, which were like Amen, Gucci Envy, and Dolce Gabbana Pour Homme, Le Male, and Issey Miyake L'Odyssée Pour Homme, and all those fragrances that were popular around that time. But I fell in love with Odor 53, so I wore quite a bit of it. It was a very small bottle, so it was like 30 ml. So it went down pretty fast. And since then, I've been a fan of the house, and I enjoy their fragrances here and there. They do release some randomly odd fragrances and also some great smelling, really wearable fragrances as well. And so, yeah, they're celebrating 30 years. I don't have some of the more popular ones. I don't have this one. I believe that's their very first fragrance. But they've had some really strangely weird-looking fragrances launched that I think are worth highlighting. But again, I don't have a lot of the fragrances that are... I have this one, but I'm not ranking it here in this list. But, like, look at this one. So they've had some very interesting bottles. I've seen this one at Barney's when Barney's was around like over 10 years ago. But very interesting collection of fragrances. Look at this one. Let me know if you're a fan of this house and their fragrances, and also let me know, when did you first discover Comme des Garçons fragrances and what your favorite Comme des Garçons fragrances are. So this is a fragrance that I really, really loved, I should say. I can't find it anymore because it's discontinued, I believe. And I love the bottle. It's typical of their bottles, but it has this kind of like indents that are sticking out on one side. So... it was a green fragrance, and they do tend to do green fragrances and very unique smells, I should say. So the brand is really, really great. I highly recommend the book for discovering their fragrances, although some of them are not available. But it's a great way to learn about the brand and some of the artwork for the fragrances. And even though, like I said, some of the fragrances are completely gone, I'm trying to find one photo of one fragrance, but... it's not coming up, but very interesting collection of fragrances, I should say. They even had deluxe patchouli, which I remember smelling. I never owned it. This one, spicy cola. So they've had a very, very interesting collection of fragrances throughout the years, and I used to go into Barney's and smell them. And it was at a time when I wasn't buying a lot of fragrances. My budget didn't allow me to buy a lot of their fragrances. But after Odor 53, the very second favorite fragrance, or not, I shouldn't say second favorite, the second fragrance I bought from the house happened to be Incense AVIGNON. But let's start with the list. It's a top 13 list ranked. We're going to go with White. This is White right here. So White is in the book. It's featured there, and it's a warm, spicy fragrance featuring all the holiday warm spices in here together. There's also some fresh spices. There's cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, pepper, pomegranate, rose, and coriander. So White doesn't really smell white to me, but it's a great take on a holiday spice vibe in a fragrance because the cloves and the cinnamon are quite prominent here. And if you like the idea, definitely something you should try. There's a bit of a cola-esque effect happening in this as well. And I think it's the spice together with the pepper and the pomegranate and the rose giving you a bit of a cola, like a spicy cola effect. Just imagine you have cola, like Coca-Cola, laced with warm spices and, fresh spices and things like that. If you love anything very spicy, potpourri-like, white is definitely one you should try. Probably my fourth, maybe my third fragrance that I bought from Comme des Garçons happens to be an aldehydic balm. And the reason I bought this probably over 12 years ago while I was in France, it was in a clearance aisle at a department store there. And I bought it, and it came in a pack with a candle as well. So I was excited I'm getting a deal on a fragrance, because at that time I wasn't buying a lot of fragrances. And it was, once again, a kind of an unusual fragrance. 2 is their second fragrance, I believe. That's why it's called 2. It's an aldehydic fragrance with ink and Angelica, Magnolia and Incense, Patchouli and Cedar, West Indian Bay and Nutmeg and tea. It smells really great on skin. I've ranked it here at number 12 because I enjoy the other ones a little more. And it also is a bit unusual, so the aldehydic experience in this is very, very prominent, and also the prominent note in the fragrance, and creates a bit of an airy, fizzy effervescence lightness when there's a few notes in here that are kind of weighing down the fragrance. So there's a bit of a metallic vibe about it as well, and I think you get that from the aldehydic touches, but it smells quite pleasant. Slightly vegetal, kind of floral, earthy, and also there's some smoky touches in here as well, but there is a calming quality about this. Aromatic and tea notes coming in there. It's definitely one of their best, and I've gone through my collection and I made sure to pick out the best that I have here. And maybe you'll agree with me with some of these fragrances where I've ranked them. Maybe you won't. Maybe you have a favorite that I didn't feature here. But let me know what your favorite fragrances are from the house, and if you've sampled the fragrances I spoke about so far. But moving on to the next fragrance, it's MONOCLE Scent 1 Hinoki. So this is actually a fragrance that reminds me a little bit of Huile from the house of Aesop. If you're familiar with that, you'll know this because it utilizes a dominant note of Hinoki wood, kind of like a cypress note. And it's a very woody experience, very earthy, also aromatic. There's Hinoki wood here, cypress, camphor, woody notes, pine, cedar, Olibanum. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. My bottle was not spraying. It's been a while since I've sprayed this. This is a bottle that I bought during Barney's clearance of all their fragrances. And I could still smell it. It smells great. This is the kind of fragrance, even though it's, many years old here in the bottle, and probably old on their shelves as well, because I bought it without a box. The kind of fragrance that you kind of don't have to worry about going bad, especially in the top notes. It doesn't have a lot of citruses, if at all. It's mostly woods and spicy aromatics that are here, and a little bit of ambery resin in the base. So it's not a fragrance you have to worry about going bad. It still smells great. It's a bit antique woody, but very, very aromatic and spicy, slightly green woody cypress type fragrance. You can totally pick up the camphor in there as well. That's MONOCLE Scent 1 Hinoki. They also have a laurel, and they have a few others, I believe. But the next fragrance at number 10 is my second fragrance that I bought from this house. It's Incense AVIGNON. At a time when I was really, really into incense fragrances. And the only reason I bought this is I ordered a candle that I had smelled in Europe from Lucky Scent. And I smelled that candle and I really wanted it. And I ordered it from Lucky Scent, and they sent some samples with it. This sample came along with it. It was an instant buy. It was at a time that I was really into smelling these kind of colder, incensey, smoky fragrances. And I went through quite a few bottles. In fact, one time I went to the city of Avignon in France. I took my bottle with me, and I took some photos there. I can't even remember where those photos are. But this is incense. It's an incense bomb created by Bertrand Duchaufour. It's incensey with myrrh, olibanum, cedar, labdanum, chamomile, elemi, rosewood, spices. There's a little light vanillic touch. It does sweeten up on skin, but it's mostly a cold, kind of dark fragrance, dark and smoky. And it really gives you the whole churchy idea. Really does. For me, I grew up Christian Orthodox, not Catholic. This is inspired by the Catholic Church, but the Orthodox Church is a version of the incense fragrance from Comme des Garçons. It's called Zagorsk. It doesn't smell like my church, even though it's inspired by the Orthodox Church. To me, that one has a lot of wood shaving smell with the kind of incense notes. Here, this reminds me more of the incense or the frankincense I'm familiar with. But definitely resinous, smoky, woody, you know, ambery in the dry down, slightly sweet as well. There are some lighter notes coming in, but it is weighing down with the ambery effect that's happening. Resinous, balsamic, all those. And it's also very spicy. So that is Incense Avignon from Comme des Garçons. So if you're curious to learn more about Comme des Garçons, please do the search on my channel. You'll find several or many videos, you know, about the brand, because I've done multiple videos on the house, you know, with various different fragrances. In fact, I have a big long top 20 list, I believe, with Dahlia on the channel as well. And the next fragrance at number 9 is Serpentine. Are you guys familiar with Serpentine? So this is a green fragrance, and that's what I like about Comme des Garçons. They do a lot of green fragrances. In fact, I have 3 or 4 green fragrances here. This is one of them. This is grass, asphalt, aldehydes, green leaves, juniper, galbanum, iris leaf, musk. I don't know if it smells like a serpentine, but kind of maybe it's got that kind of an effect. Maybe the serpentine crawling through some greenery because they hide. I think maybe that's the inspiration. I don't know. But it's a very green smelling, kind of succulent, almost like aloe vera, the inside, that kind of succulent part about it experience. Kind of like gelatinous kind of wear for this one. But it's really, really fantastic fragrance. It just smells like if you've broken the aloe vera and that jelly part inside it has that kind of green smell. It gives me that kind of a vibe. But it's very intensely green. It smells like a green jungle after it's rained. And the fragrance, the essence of the leaves and the stems and all that kind of is like amplifying off of themselves. And you're walking through it and breaking through the leaves and obviously the trees and stuff. And you're getting a fragrance. That's what it smells like. Serpentine is awesome. But the next fragrance is called Standard. Now, I don't know about the collaborations. This seems like a collaboration they've done because it has the word Artec here. They've done collaborations with a lot of different magazines, books, and artists, and, you know, sports figures. In fact, Pharrell did one. I think it's called Girl, which I never bought, unfortunately. I should have. So this seems like a collaboration. I don't know much about it. Maybe you guys know. But this is a really great fragrance in that the notes are really great. But to me, it smells like an incense fragrance with all the notes that are in here. And there's no mention of incense in this fragrance. But the notes break down as cedar, watercress, fennel, lemons, ginger, musk, saffron, tea, and honeysuckle. You guys familiar with Standard? I think this is... I tried to make sure the fragrances are also all still selling. So hopefully you'll be able to find these. It's definitely herbal and aromatic, very woody and musky, but along the way you get a slightly smoky, incensey thing throughout the fragrance. Maybe it's coming from the tea, because tea can be smoky a little bit, the type of tea they're using, but it's not like, doesn't smell like church. It's definitely not like Incense Avignon. But there's definitely a slight smoky thing coming through it. And it actually develops more and more when you're wearing it. Anyway, Standard is great. I really love that one. I made sure to pick all my favorites. Now, this next one is from a series called Leaves. And those bottles were green. If I can find it and I'll show you. As you can see right here, the green bottles, they used to be green. So a lot of fragrances got discontinued from Comme des Garçons. Then they launched all the bestsellers in a collection called Olfactory Library. And this is Calamus from the Green Collection. So it says Series 1 Leaves. I should say not Green Collection, but Leaves, but obviously leaves are green. And Calamus, oh man, it's quite good. It's bamboo, Angelica, celery seeds, red berries, and pink pepper. Let me know if you're familiar with this. Let me know if you've had the green bottle version or if you've tried it on the white bottle. I don't remember a difference, but I didn't wear the original in the green bottle to know that there was a difference between the green bottle and the white bottle. So once again, it's the smell of the calamus plant. Once again, you got that kind of succulent quality, but it's totally different than Serpentine. This also has a bit of a watery effect happening, dewy kind of. In fact, Serpentine did as well. But this one has more of a seawater rather than like fresh water. Slightly marine, but I wouldn't call this a marine fragrance, if that makes sense. Just has a kind of a watery effect. Maybe I'm not saying the right thing. Maybe it's more like a pond rather than like the seawater. So what I'm trying to say is it's a bit dirty is the kind of water. Not rained on with clean, dewy water. Just like a pond that's been sitting around. So it has kind of a earthy smell to it. But a great smell. I really love that. This is Olfactory Library Collection, Calamus from Series 1 Leaves. Next one is at number 6, the fragrance, the very first fragrance I bought from the brand called Odor 53. Okay, so this is the strangest fragrance I had ever worn when I bought it in the late 90s. And as I was saying, I was wearing some very conventional fragrances, including fragrances like the Dreamer from Versace and, all these kind of fragrances that were very popular in the 90s, because that's when I started wearing this. It was the strangest fragrance I ever had. The notes breakdown is really weird. Oxygen, flash of metal, fire energy, washing, drying, in the wind, mineral carbon, sand dunes, nail polish, pure air of the high mountains, burnt rubber, flaming rock. So this to me smells like electricity and an electric shock, as well as inside the electric shop. So it's kind of a very electric, slightly smoky, fiery, but also very synthetic smelling experience. It's almost like taking a circuit board and catching it on fire and turning the fire off right away. So those whatever those items are, capacitors and resistors and all those things have caught fire, and there's that smell. But it's a very clean and synthetic smell, is basically what that is. So very unusual fragrance for the time. I had not worn anything like this in the late 90s. Everything was conventional designer. And even though Comme des Garçons is a designer, this was the strangest fragrance I had ever put my nose on. It smells like electricity that's caught on fire and it's turned off. So it's a bit smoky, but it's something catching on fire or getting electrocuted, and there's that smell it sparks. I wouldn't call it an uber smoky fragrance. I should take that back. It's not smoky. It's just basically the interaction of something, going electric, like electrocution, and leaving kind of a smell in the air. Very interesting. It could also be something more like thunder, like just before rain, because it has that kind of a smell before there's like a kind of a petrichor smell, but just before the rain comes, kind of smell in the earth. Really interesting fragrance. I think everybody should smell Odor 53. It's actually wearable, unlike something like Etat Libre d'Orange's Secretions Magnifiques, which is absolutely horrid. And then we're back to Series 1 again. This is Leaves Lily. And even though this is part of a Leaves collection, it's the note of lily is the standout, but it's Lily of the Valley. They've called it Lily, but they're using Lily of the Valley. And Lily of the Valley is a very green floral note. So if you like green fragrances, you got to get your nose on this one. It's a Lily of the Valley bomb. It might remind you of something classic and feminine, but I really love the greenness about this. I love green fragrances. I love the smell of nature. So anything green for me is an absolute must to get my nose on. But not only do we have greenness here, we have floral, like a white floral touch as well. It's nicely blended with freesia, syringa, and rose, but it's so fresh. It smells like spring to me, like literally breezy spring. Really, really awesome fragrance. The green series was amazing. That's why I have them in the olfactory library, because I love green fragrances. But this next one is totally dark. This is actually called Black from Comme des Garçons. I think most of these fragrances are eau de toilette, unless they're stated. But this to me, even though it's a dark fragrance, it wears thin, so you gotta overspray this one. But I like that it's smoky, and it's called Black because they're using all black notes. And the cover is almost like a chalkboard. Like I want to take chalk and write on it, the texture. But it's birch, incense, licorice, leather, black pepper, olibanum, pepperwood, cedar, vetiver. So it's very dark and smoky and leathery and licoricey, spicy. So it's just all these black notes together made into a very, very gorgeous fragrance. And again, it's not a conventional fragrance. It's all dark notes, black notes, and it's smoky and leathery. So somebody that's used to conventional fragrances might think this is just strange. But I love it. In the background, there's also something sweet lingering, slightly maple syrupy, something sweet, but it's covered up by a lot of the black, dark, smoky, leathery notes. Such a good fragrance. This is really great. I wish they made an eau de parfum version of this. That is Black from Comme des Garçons. This next one is Copper. You guys know this one? I love this a lot because it utilizes Galbanum as a note. Galbanum is a favorite note of mine. Remember I said green. I love green fragrances. This came before Iris Malikan from Maison Crivelli, and it reminds me of it a little bit because it's kind of powdery with the addition of Galbanum, and Iris Malikan is also iris powdery with Galbanum. So, but here we're getting a copper experience because it's a bit metallic. But it's Galbanum, metallic notes, tobacco, amber, vanilla, myrrh, violet leaves, pink pepper. So good. This is really, really great. If you like the fragrance Iris Mollycon, you got to get your nose on it. It doesn't smell identical, but you'll be reminded of it. This is more green, I believe, from that one. The other one's more irisy powdery, and the green Galbanum cuts through. This one, for me, the Galbanum is much more prominent, and everything else is, playing around the Galbanum, whereas the other, it's all about the iris, and the Galbanum is playing around the Galbanum, but it'll remind you of one another. But this is kind of metallic. The copper idea is present here. It's got copper-like qualities. I do not like the smell of copper, by the way, guys. If you ever have gone to a bar that has a copper counter and they've wiped it down, that smell is so nasty. There's some strange smell. Thankfully, this does not smell like it, but it smells quite pleasant and also metallic. It's great. Copper is so good. If you don't know that one, do try it. And then this next one is called Rouge. And Rouge doesn't stand for roses, by the way. It's red, beautiful red color. But this is about beetroot, beets. It's kind of vegetal. So it has notes of beetroot, ginger, incense, pink pepper, mint, patchouli, and labdanum. Oh man, so unique. I love it. That vegetal fruitiness of the beets with kind of an incensey smokiness that Comme des Garçons is known for. Wow, combo amazing. Really, really amazing fragrance. I love it. This is definitely ranked here at number 2. It could have been ranked at number 1 as well, but I put it here at number 2. But both of these could be competing with one another. Rouge is just delicious. I never thought I would really enjoy a vegetal fragrance like this. But the beetroot does provide a fruitiness as well, not only a vegetal touch. This incense cuts right through it. I haven't thought about it this way. This actually kind of also reminds me a little bit of Muglaire's A Taste of Fragrance, the chili pepper one. And even though this doesn't have chili pepper, it's giving me that kind of a vibe. It's so super sexy, by the way. And beetroots. Never thought beetroots can be sexy, but this is. Done in a nice, pleasant way. Vegetal, fruity, smoky, spicy, earthy. Rouge is definitely a top 5 here, and it's definitely ranked here at number 2. And I'm putting a brand new bottle of Marseille that I just bought. I've gone through the whole other bottle. It's Marseille at number 1. Maybe I could have tossed up between the Rouge and the Marseille, but Marseille goes down really easily, and it's easy to wear, especially all year round. It's a very soapy fragrance. It's called Marseille, inspired by Marseille soap, created by Quinton Biche. It's neroli, musk, cosmone, petalia, orange blossom, woods, and amber. Let me know if you've tried it. If you love soapy fragrances, you've got to get your nose on this. This is like a soap bomb. It smells like you're wearing soap. So clean, so soapy, bubbly, and really, really super delicious. Like, I've been to some of the Marseille soap factories as taken tours, because I've gone to Marseille many times in the south of France. If I say many, but I've gone there 4 times. And I've gone to a couple of different ones, and the tours are great. They show you how the soap is made and everything, and inside there smells. And this is actually basically the soap factory come to life in soap form. And I love the smell of soaps, and I love the smell of Marseille. It's definitely ranked here at number 1, and it deserves it. So that's Marseille for you at number 1. And all of these fragrances, the majority of them are going to be found in this book. And I paid $100 for this book. I bought it from the Dover Street Market, which is actually Comme des Garçons market, I think. And I wanted to have the history of the brand. The only one I don't have, well, I don't have a lot of the fragrances in here, and the latest fragrance is called 10. This is the 10th version of one of these fragrances, I think. I don't know. I don't know a lot of details about these fragrances. I just wanted to have a book and talk to you guys about the book and the fragrances. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances, if you've sampled them, if you're curious to try them, if you have another favorite Comme des Garçons fragrance, whether it's still selling or discontinued, add a comment below. And what do you think about the book? Will you be getting it? Do let me know. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.